5 races down and 8 to go. The month of October is completed, and there's too much to talk about, quite frankly. One driver has shown clear intent of being the perennial favorite for the coveted Greg Moore Cup. Circuit diversity has given us many different storylines and headlines. Last Tuesday's Indy 250 was one of, if not the best races in series and network history. Tonight, the momentum continues with yet another oval and a new month of racing. Good evening, folks, and welcome aboard another live production for Season 2 of the Canadian Motorsports Network Dart Series on iRacing, and welcome to the month of November. We are at the second oval in a row here on the schedule at the Wisconsin State Fair Park in Wisconsin for round 6 of 13 of the running for the second annual Greg Moore Cup. It's the Milwaukee Mile 125 at America's legendary oval, the Milwaukee Mile. Just waiting right here to see when Jordy Carraher, my fellow color commentator, will eventually be here, joining in with us. Let's see if we can get him in here. Do I have you here, Jordy? We are live.
Yeah, I'm around.
Are all set to show your face?
Yeah, I'm here. I was just waiting for you to unmute.
Alrighty then, so now we will officially get to our face. Hang on. There we go. That's much better. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast booth here for the Canadian Motorsports Network. I'm your main voice here, play-by-play guy and brain broadcaster, Regan McCauley from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. On the other side, he's been here since the very beginning. It is Jordy Carraher from Alberta, Canada. Now, Jordy, man, holy moly, did we ever witness a race for the ages last Tuesday. At least 7 drivers had pace and speed to challenge for the win. I mean, some were up front the whole time. Dylan Bahm, Charlie Sears, and Corbin McCauley. Some were patient and laid back like Ty Higginbottom, C.D. Mangrum, Jose Mercado. Former and inaugural 250 champion Andy Hertel started last and was right there at the end after a couple of cautions to try and put his name into the history books once again. Calamity, of course, ensues on the final lap in two different areas on the track, and the 2 leaders crashed in the final turn, and one name that I have not mentioned yet finally got a trophy that he had so desired for so long, and that ended up being none other than the number 64 Wing Snob and Kyle's Fried Barbecue and Chicken 519 E-Racing Rolls Royce of Darcy Ford, who claims that last Tuesday was the biggest win that he's ever gotten within the Canadian eMotorsports Network. And quite frankly, the one lap that he led all day, or all night, however you want to put it, was the most important one. Ford's early years within the Canadian Motorsports Network were filled with accomplishments, including a NASCAR championship and several Formula One championships, and he did finish runner-up in the Season 1 points for the Dart Series, which was again back on the console side of racing on Project Cars 2. But then he went through a slump in NASCAR Seasons 3 and 4, and his transition to iRacing was a little rough on the oval side, like the stock car side. But returning to open-wheel racing may have been what he needed, and he certainly proved that last Tuesday, and Ford has now moved his way into 3rd in the point standings, where he was originally 9th. Absolutely unreal performance out of him, and this should certainly help him going for the championship run, although quite frankly, whenever we do get to the point standings later, he still has quite the gap to get against one driver in particular that we will be talking about later. But it's safe to say after his post-race interview after last Tuesday's Indy 250, there's no doubt he will be seeking more wins and even go for the championship if things go his way from now till Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't sure if you were throwing at me there or not. Yeah, obviously a long time coming for Darcy Ford, it has to be said. And is my mic working, first of all? I'm not seeing any levels.
You're coming in fine.
Okay. All right. I will take your word for it. Okay, there we go. Yeah, as I say, kind of a long time coming for Darcy Ford on that one. As you say, only had to lead the one lap, one straightaway, really, for that matter. And, that's ultimately got him the job done. The guy that you were referencing that he's chasing, he was very much in that last corner incident in the form of Dylan Bahm. But, yeah, it's still, we're coming up on the halfway point. So it's not, not prudent to say it's early anymore, I don't think. Still, some time to make things up, but this is kind of where things get a little bit more on the urgent side, I guess we can say.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're practically at the halfway point of this season. Or I guess mathematically, again, it's 13 races, not 12. So it depends on how either way we put it. If we go off the schedule graphics, of course, it'll be right after tonight. But anyways, I mean, yeah, so now we can take a look here into the race results for the third annual Indianapolis 250 here within 2023. Darcy Ford qualified fifth and mixed in between the top 5 and the top 10 for most of the race before sneaking into his upset victory, of course. Hunter Young's number 77 Chevrolet qualified 12th and quietly hung around the bottom of the top 10, and it's no wonder patience prevailed with his runner-up finish. Ty Higginbottom's number 97 U.S. Air Force Toyota qualified 3rd, finished 3rd, and led 4 laps. C.D. Mangram's number 1 Nordic Aluminum BMW was fast early, but it just wasn't fast enough compared to everyone else by the end. 2-time 250 runner-up finisher Daniel Cudmore continued his usual pattern of being conservative, and it paid off with a top 5 finish. Jose Mercado qualified 4th and had an impressive run within the top 5 until a last lap crash. He kept 7th, though, due to the number of lap cars that were still on the track. And no, I'm not skipping Andy Hertel because I might as well put him with Dylan Bahm and Charlie Sears, since Bahm and Sears are literally right next to each other right there in the results. And my goodness, it is absolute heartbreak for those three, because Hertel started last and he was right there with Bahm neck to neck coming to the checkered flag, and quite frankly, even before we had those late restarts, they were right there going for it. It was absolute pandemonium right there. And, yeah, I mean, the two led a combined 62 of 100 laps, so one way to put how exiting turn 4 went was unfortunately a classic rookie mistake on Bahm's end, but I would also argue that you can't fully blame him in a way due to recent momentum and the fact that a crown jewel was right there waiting for him to, lift up that trophy and drink some of that virtual milk. Charlie Sears was mediocre for his standards during the previous week's qualifying session, but he had an immediate bounce back on race day with 4 laps led and consistent top 5 speed. The bounce back was cut, of course, on the final lap due to a crash off turn 2, also involving Jose Mercado, as mentioned earlier. Mike Marini rounded out the top 10 with a fair day for his number 12 Audi. Darcy Cudmore just fell short of a top 10, and down the chart comes even more heartbreak with Jonathan Swainson and Corbin McCauley both crashing out due to mistakes. Notably, too, McCauley had won the pole for the 250, and he had winning speed all day up front up until the speeding penalty that he got, and then crashing out, obviously, down the back straightaway. And Jonathan Swainson, too, was making his way up there, and he was right there with speed to get on the podium, maybe even steal the victory as well, but unfortunately went just a little bit too hard through turn 1 and ended up in the outside wall, and a caution was eventually thrown. We initially thought that was not going to happen. Kyle Noll was taken out on just the first lap, if I recall correctly. Patrick Hernandez qualified 11th, but did not make it to the race, while Michael Dimitrov and Caden Tufts also did not start. So, Jordy, do you have any overall thoughts on the race results there?
I mean, everything kind of spoke for itself there last week. Honestly, you say, the sheer dominance that Dylan Bahm had for the majority of the run, especially after that first green flag stop, it felt like he was going to be untouchable, and that pretty much a caution was going to be the only thing to slow him down. And ultimately, that did wind up coming to pass, as you mentioned, with about 24, 25 laps to go, just kind of shortly after the second green flag pit stop window ended. And then, yeah, obviously we got our massive charge to the finish, effectively a 2-lap shootout. And as you mentioned, absolutely heartbreaking for that trio of drivers in particular that you mentioned. But again, how many times have we said it? We're going to sound like broken records here. To finish first you have to finish. Those guys didn't. Darcy Ford navigated through the traffic, and suddenly he's got a new lease on life on this particular season.
Absolutely, he does. And now we're going to take a look here at the championship point standings after the third annual Indianapolis 250. 55 points separating Dylan Bahm and C.D. Mangrum, while Darcy Ford jumped a staggering 6 spots, as I said earlier, from 9th to 3rd, and is in a dead heat for 3rd with Hertel, Sears, and Higginbottom. Mercado leads Daniel Cudmore by 1 point in 7th. Now we take a look at the Rookie of the Year battle, which, it's that same points gap that we have in the regular championship point standings, with Bahm and Mangrum separated by 55 points, of course, while Sears is 6 points back of Mangrum. Mercado is safe for now in 4th, while Hunter Young, Kyle Knoll, and Jonathan Swainson are going at it for the 5th position. There's the engine manufacturer standings now, where Toyota continues to shred the field in the manufacturer standings, while Rolls-Royce moves to 2nd by 14 points over Chevrolet, and Chevrolet is 5 points ahead of BMW for the bottom of the manufacturer podium, if that's a certain way to put it. And then to wrap it all up for points standings heading into tonight's race, we have the Nations Cup once again after round 5 of 13. 208 points separating the United States and Canada in the Nations Cup. And although, again, the 250 winner was a Canadian in Darcy Ford, you look at that, you look at those top finishers, the 5 best finishers from the United States side, and holy moly, it's absolutely unbeatable in terms of consistent finishes right there. Like, you got Ty Higginbottom, C.D. Mangrum, Dylan Bahm, Jose Mercado, and Andy Hertel. And I mean, quite frankly, too, Bahm and Hertel were right there to finish within the top 2 for the Indy 250 last Tuesday night. So, again, they could have added on those extra points had they still finished top 2 and not wrecked each other. But again, regardless of anything, certainly a lot of interesting things going on within each different point standings that we had between drivers, rookies, manufacturers, and both nations involved within the Canadian Motorsports Network Dart Series. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's 208-point gap through 5 races already. That's going to raise a few eyebrows here, to say the very least. Again, maybe not the most surprising result, but maybe the win last week for Darcy Ford is the start of us, maple syrup sucking, igloo living, whatevers. Maybe that's the start of our comeback. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see on that, obviously. But now it is time to move on from last week, which, again, that was a rare Monday night race because of Halloween, obviously. But now we're back to the regular Tuesday night racing from here on out between now and, again, I said Christmas earlier. I think that's still pretty much accurate. But now we move on to the schedule graphic, of course, where we've actually come to the very end of the first half, basically part 1 of 2 for this graphic, which, by the way, yes, again, 13 races, not 6. We wouldn't do that. Car engine power, again, it's not negative 7.5. It is actually negative 5%. But anyways, we're remaining on ovals as we, again, approach this final race on part 1 of the graphics here. Now we're at the Milwaukee Mile, 125 laps around the flat oval with the usual oval qualifying format of 2 laps per driver. And as we get the scenic views here of Milwaukee Mile, well, that is certainly not a racetrack, but hopefully there we go. That's much better right there. But anyways, a little bit of a lesson here, educational lesson here on the Milwaukee Mile, a 1 mile, 1.6 kilometer oval that's, again, practically flat. And wow, you just went right away from the track once again. Thank you very much, iRacing. Although the turns are still banked at 9.25 degrees, which still that produces some very exciting racing. I mean, it means you can't go flat out here. So overtaking opportunities can occur on both the straightaways and in the turns as well. The Milwaukee Mile was originally a dirt oval that opened in 1903 before being paved in 1954, and it's the world's oldest continuously operating motorsport facility, at least according to iRacing, and it's hosted all kinds of racing from NASCAR and USAC to kart, Champ Car, and the top American Open Wheel Series that we cannot say for legal reasons. And for more than 60 years, this track has served as the next stop after the Indianapolis 500, and we're basically doing that same thing here with the Indy 250. This top series in real life last hosted the series in 2015, and it plans to be back on the 2024 schedule. But for the Canadian Motorsports Network, this is our first time visiting the Milwaukee Mile, so we'll be witnessing history here tonight, just like we have all season long. Sheer dominance by Dylan Bahm, the surprise 250 victory by Darcy Ford, and many more accomplishments by other drivers equally between veterans and rookies. Do we get yet another Bahm or Charlie Sears win? Does Darcy Ford go back-to-back? Will someone new etch their name into the history books? That's why we're here tonight, to find out. Only half a season to go after tonight, and time has flown by. Every driver must be ready to strike no matter what from now till Christmas. And again, it's like you said here, Jordy, like it's not even really early anymore. We're starting to approach that halfway point. And after tonight, drivers are really going to have to start putting in some good performances if they want a shot at the second annual Greg Moore Cup.
Yeah, and I think based on just the chaotic finishes that we've had at Texas and Indy, you're kind of similarly laid out tracks. And I mean, that's not a great harbinger there. It looked like a crash out of one of the turns. But yeah, we've had some crazy finishes on those two tracks so far. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a third one here tonight, whether it's a first time winner or whether it's a continuation, as you said, of Dylan Bahm's potential dominance over the course of this season. I think there is room for guys to make some moves here potentially, and yeah, it's only a matter of time, I think, until we start to see things tighten up a little bit, and this might be where it starts.
Absolutely. So now we have entered the qualifying session here for the Milwaukee Mile 125. We're looking here at the number 32 of Charlie Sears, who again had some really good speed, bouncing back after a poor qualifying session the week prior to the third annual Indianapolis 250. He was right up there until the end, and unfortunately, a crash took him out after coming off of turn 2. So unfortunate circumstances for him. Still managed a top 10 finish, but he definitely wanted something more than that. So as this qualifying session goes on again, you can see it's going on. It's a 5-minute timer right there, but again, it's 2 laps per driver, and we're just kind of seeing how everyone's going to shape through here as Charlie Sears gets a 23.874, Corb McCauley a 24.326, Jose Mercado jumping in between there to 23.899. Jason Butler into the third position as well. So some interesting names and numbers up here towards the top, and go figure, Dylan Bahm up to the top. So far.
Well, yeah, you were about to call it interesting, then it becomes very, very familiar.
Basically. Oh, Bahm spins it! In turns 3 and 4.
It is best of 2 laps. He did get one in.
He got one in, but is that still going to work for him? Here's Sini Magram coming around. He's in the third position, just 2 1,000ths behind Sears. Oh, and it looks like he came to an end with his times right there. Not seeing any more maneuvering around within this point, or within these positions. So by the looks of it, I think we may be looking at the pole sitter anyways, unless something drastic happens here within these final couple of minutes. But it looks like everyone has taken in the laps that they've needed to get done. So it looks like even though Bahm only completed like a lap and a half, he still got the fastest time.
Yeah, again, best of 2, very different to the average over the 4 laps at Indy for that qualifying, where you did need to have all 4 of your laps count, in a clean manner. It's just kind of get it over the line, throw it out there as fast as you possibly can in this particular instance. And I mean, even though we did, as you say, see Dylan Bahm crash, ultimately he got his lap in and no one else can touch it. So yeah, I think we're looking at, go figure, Bahm and Sears on the front row. What a surprise.
But then we remember what happened with Bahm and Hertel last Tuesday, and it's just like the PTSD just rolls through.
It does. And I think, again, maybe a little bit less pressure this time around. Again,
yes.
Not to diminish Milwaukee's value at all.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not Indy, right? So, maybe things are a little bit more cautious today. Obviously only a mile to work with compared to 2.5 at Indy, so things are going to be tighter anyway. So I think guys will have to be mindful of that, certainly. And yeah, we'll see how that plays out here relatively shortly.
I mean, to be fair, too, though, yes, it's not Indy. It's not a crown jewel like that. But again, this is still our first time running a Milwaukee Mile ever within the Canadian Motorsports Network, so these drivers still have a great opportunity to etch themselves into the history books as like the first ever Milwaukee Mile winner. So There's still something up for grabs here tonight. There still is.
There is. There's also no precedent on how tonight is going to work for said drivers because, as you say, new configuration, new track for us here within the Canadian E-Motorsports network. And, we'll see just how much practice time our guys have gotten in over the last, week plus a day, obviously, given that last week was a Monday nighter. But
Yes.
it'll be, I think, as I say, I think it'll be interesting. I don't think you'll see, kind of the conventional format or order by the end of it. Now, we've only got 14 drivers out of our 20 tonight, so that's going to open up a little bit more space, but ultimately, everybody's still chasing the same goal at the end of the day, as you said. So it'll be, we'll find out soon enough how it's going to go, but it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out, I think.
Yeah, someone's saying in the chat here, will they not make it past turn 1? That's the big question.
The fact that they have to ask that question, there's always kind of a grain of truth to these things. But let's pray for our sake that they do.
Something like that. But yes, only 14 drivers will be competing in tonight's race by the looks of it, so this will be a huge opportunity for a lot of guys to gain some extra points here. I know Daniel Cudmore, the network and series founder, notably not here because there is it is today is the opening ceremonies for the soccer nationals for women's soccer. That the Holland Hurricanes are hosting here. They're over in Somerset, Prince Edward Island. So, of course, wishing all the best of luck to them over this week and this weekend as well. They're coming off a regional championship, obviously. Caden Tufts, Michael Dimitrov are two names that, again, they haven't been racing with us in recent weeks. So those are two other names that, again, we're kind of used to that at this point. For anyone else, I can't think off the top of my head. It'll probably just be more of a natural process.
Yeah, and Dimitrov, I wouldn't be surprised if he's also part of that national championship discussion you were just talking about. To be honest, I wish I was. We just couldn't get out of Alberta, unfortunately. But, such is life. That's how it goes. But, let's do what we've got with the drivers we have, just as we always have. And
yes.
Yeah, here's some good racing.
Absolutely. It's time to go racing here for the first time in Network and Dart Series history at the Milwaukee Mile. The Milwaukee Mile 125 about to get underway very shortly. We will get to the starting grid here. Eventually, I'm going to go through race control, give these guys a quick message, and they will fire the engines up after I give them the most famous words in motorsports. And then we'll go racing for round 6 of 13 for the Canadian Motorsports Network Dart Series on iRacing. Stay tuned. Vroom, vroom. All right, so we had a bit of a delay there. Apologies for that, but now we can officially get to the starting grid here for the Indianapolis, or sorry, no, that's last Tuesday, the Milwaukee Mile 125. Don't give me that face, Jordy.
Last Monday, even.
Monday, yes. Brain farts happening all over the place. Anyways, here's the front row. It is absolutely familiar and recognizable. No surprises whatsoever. The number 3 Toyota of Dylan Bahm. He's got 3 wins this season alongside the one-time race winner so far. The number 32 Chevrolet of Charlie Sears. And now right behind them we have the number 1 BMW of CD Magram. Alongside him, it's the number 9 BMW, Jose Mercado, who again has had consistent speed all season so far, lots of top 10s, even has eventually recently gotten some top 5s. He'll be looking to eventually step on the podium and maybe even get himself a Dart Series victory.
All right, rounding out the top 5, we have the number 12 Audi of Mike Marini, and alongside him, last week's Indy 250 winner, the number 64 Rolls-Royce of Darcy Ford. As we move on to row 4, we've got the number 7 starting in 7th. That's another Rolls-Royce belonging to Andy Hertel. And look at that, yet another Rolls-Royce and Jason Butler. He'll start 8th in the number 10.
2 very recognizable faces right there, right alongside each other. Now we move on to the bottom of the top 10, where we have the number 17 Honda of 3rd Annual Indy 250 pole sitter Corbin McCauley. Still has yet to win a race this season. Has had a little bit of bad luck ever since the transition from NASCAR to Dart here on iRacing, but again, he's still shown that speed. There's no doubt he will be contending here, especially on the ovals. Alongside him, the number 97 Toyota of Ty Higginbottom, coming off a 3rd place finish in the Indy 250 last week. And just outside the top 10, we have the number 15 Toyota of Kyle Knoll, the number 77 Chevrolet, again, coming off a surprising runner-up finish in last week's race, the number 77 Chevrolet, Hunter Young.
Yeah, and I guess rounding out the grid from my side of things, row number 7, Mark Ouellette will start 13th in the number 80 Chevy, and it'll be Ivan Reynolds bringing up the field in the number 67 Vespa. He'll start last of our 14 runners tonight.
Alrighty then, so the pace car will be rolling off here this time by as the cars come through turns 3 and 4. Dylan Bahm and Charlie Sears, the two, again, statistically, the top 2 drivers within the Dart Series on iRacing here so far. Never mind. Yeah, there it goes, eventually. The top 2 guys this season, statistically, will lead the field to green. We're underway with the 1st annual Milwaukee Mile 125.
Yeah, and look at that. Bahm just blitzing out of the gates here.
Are zooming down the back straightaway through turns 3 and 4. Bahm going to be leading the way. A bunch of maneuvering back here, about 6th on back or so. Mostly single file here within about the top 4 or so. Sears and Mercado, they're going to be going almost side by side at it through turns 1 and 2. And there's already a little bit of trouble there going up high and falling back. The number 10 of Jason Butler falling back down the back straightaway. He'll move back into the 10th position. Trying to use that high side up against Ty Higginbottom, but it's going to end up sliding him up, and that's going to give Kyle Nolan an opportunity to step up, still remain behind him. Here comes Corbin McCauley up against the recent Indy 250 winner, Darcy Ford. McCauley up into the 6th position.
Yeah, and that's, as I say, it's weird seeing him a little bit further down the grid, but, could provide a little bit of an entertaining dynamic in the midfield until such a time where he does make the move, as it looks like he's trying to make another one to get into the top 5. It looks like he's going to make it stick.
McCauley into the top 5 past Mike Marini. Close action back here between Ford, Hertel, and Higginbottom going at it. Pretty much the entire field has now gone single file here. Charlie Sears has now fallen back into the 3rd position as C.D. Magra moves up into 2nd. Dylan Bahm still leading the way here. Now on lap 5, a 125.
Yeah, but he hasn't, after that early start, he hasn't exactly, motored away from the rest of the field here. They've kind of reeled him in. And, yeah, Mangrum looking to get onto the back of our series leader to this point.
Kyle Nolan, Jason Butler going at it there for the 10th position as there goes C.D. Mangrum to the inside down the front straightaway. He will take the lead. Bahm still trying to keep up right there using the high side instead. He's going to fall back in behind. Mangrum to 1st, Bahm to 2nd. Charlie Sears still remaining here in the 3rd position, trying to get up high, very close up against the rear bumper of Sears. Here comes Corbin McCauley after starting in 9th. He's made his way up to the 4th position, just past Jose Mercado about a lap or so ago. McCauley will now try to fight for the bottom of the podium against the 32.
Yeah, and it looks like he's not wasting any time here, as looks like he's going to try and dive in on Sears. And, might try the double on Bahm here as well. Why not get a double shot here?
Almost contact right there between the two. Left front of Bahm and the right rear of McCauley, but the 17 will get past the 3. 17 to 2nd. C.D. Mangrum leading the way by almost a second here, but McCauley, he is fast. And he is still kind of catching up there, too. Mangrum is, Bahm and Sears, big crash!
Oh, yeah, I saw that front wing of Sears going up. That was instantly going to be trouble. And I don't know if you saw the picture during practice.
Roulette too.
Caution. Wait, who did we say get caught up in that?
That was the number 80 of Mark. That was the number 80 of Mark Roulette, who also crashed as well. But I was literally just telling you there. I was telling you earlier. The top 2, not surprising. It's all familiar. But then I was like, remember last week? It took a while, but remember?
Well, I was also literally just about to ask you if you saw the picture from practice where Jason Butler wound up on top of Corbin McCauley.
Yeah. No,
So, very similar optics here. And, we got a decent look at it, but I think probably a more clear angle is certainly justified here.
So we'll get the chopper angle, what just happened here between Bahm and Sears.
Yes, get to the chopper.
That's a weird one. Oh my gosh. Oh, and he went on top of him. Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know if you can necessarily, net code that, because again, they weren't like side by side by any means. Yeah, like Bahm, it almost looks like he just goes slow in the middle of the turn, and like Sears is right there. He goes from on top of him waiting to pass to quite literally on top of him.
Good
Yeah,
Lord.
that's going to be a strange one to look back on.
And then there was Ouellette, who also got collected. Him and Ivan Reynolds might have gotten together. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just a little tap there, obviously through a bit
the
of
grass.
Through a little bit of a strange zone there with, again, that previous incident. But, yeah, now minimum 2 cars. Well, Sears for sure out. Bahm will, you'd have to think, sustain significant damage, and possibly Ouellette as well. As, there's the old loop-de-loop there.
I'm bewildered by that one. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that one's a little puzzling.
Well, I said earlier, statistically speaking, the top 2 drivers this season out of the race, not even fully 10 laps in, and we're right back to racing almost immediately with those 2 out. And it's like, what is it, maybe 11, 12 cars still remaining in this one? And this is going to give a perfect opportunity for guys like Magrum, McCauley, even Mike Marini's starting to get up there. Maybe Darcy Ford will try to get back-to-back victories. I mentioned about Jose Mercado's consistency earlier. This will give a huge opportunity for a lot of these guys. And again, it's still pretty early.
It is. And like the other thing I said during the pre-race and qualifying, this might be an evening where things starting to tighten up a little bit. I didn't picture it happening like that.
I don't think any of us did. Not even the drivers either, who had to witness all that.
No, and I mean, like, to the guy in the chat who asked us if we were going to make it through turn 1, we made it through 10 plus 1 laps.
And we're now getting the comment here from Charlie Sears, his perspective of what just happened right there. So just, right on the brakes and just lost control, and those are the circumstances there. And I mean, quite frankly, with Sears as well, too, early on in the season, it was a matter of he would either DNF or win. Then there was Canadian Tire, where he still finished second, but he was right there for the win about halfway through the final lap, and then there was a mistake right there with Dylan Bahm that cost him the opportunity of winning. Then there's the Indy 250 where he had an opportunity, but then the crash happened with Jose Mercado off turn 2. And then there's tonight where that just happened, and it's been certainly chaotic for, again, the guy, the first and only guy in Canadian Motorsports Network history and Dart Series history to have a pro license on iRacing. So, again, kind of the resume and just him on paper, it's been there. His raw speed's been there, but it just has been a constant case of mistakes and just lady luck not lending him a hand.
Yeah, and also, being around Dylan Bahm as well, because
that too, yeah.
Well, you throw in what you were referencing before with them coming together at Canadian Tire and then tonight. Let's not forget that the season also opened at Barber with those two coming together. And that beginning the string of Sears' misfortune, as Bahm eventually went on to win that one.
Indeed. So again, too, that's going to be 2 guys right there who have won this season that will not have a shot anymore. I mean, they're complete laps down. I mean, quite frankly, Mark Ouellette's out of the race. Charlie Sears is out of the race. Dylan Bahm is still waiting in his pit box to see if maybe later on in the race he's able to take advantage of some points. Perhaps, I mean, quite frankly, he's still on the pole, so that's an extra point right there. But the only driver remaining in the field so far that has won yet this season is Darcy Ford, and he's all the way back in the 4th position. So, again, there's plenty of time for him to come through and maybe steal another victory. But again, going up against guys like, again, C.D. Magrum and Corbin McCauley, who have shown early on in this Milwaukee Mile 125 here so far, they are the ones to beat thus far. And, I mean, I would argue the 17 might be the only one because, holy moly, he qualified 9th. He's up to 2nd, and he'll be charging hard against, again, the 2022 NASCAR Series Rookie of the Year, and also a driver who got a win this past season, Season 4 for a NASCAR Series, first one on iRacing. So Magrum's had a nice start here to his open-wheel career. Oh, caution!
Yeah,
Ivan
what's happening
Reynolds
now? Okay. I was going to say, Any damage to the front? Yeah, no front wing. That's not ideal.
Second caution of the night here on lap 21 at a 125. Again, remember Reynolds and Ouellette got together earlier. Seems like the bad luck just continues for the number 67. So we'll take a look at here at what just happened. Yeah, you pretty much got like a millisecond of a sneak peek right there of him getting loose through turns 3 and 4. So we'll get a better angle here from the chopper. Yep, just lost the rear end and wham.
Yeah, there he goes. And yeah, Jason Butler able to avoid that one that time around. But yeah, Reynolds, he was it him who got caught up in the McCauley incident at Indy last week, or was that?
That would
I feel like he was impacted somehow.
Butler and Reynolds, I think.
Right. Oh yeah, I think Reynolds may have gone through the infield on that one, if memory serves. Yeah. So again, as you say, the misfortune kind of continues as Jason Butler just kind of navigates his way through. But yeah, 67, that is not the way you want to be facing.
Absolutely not, as we have a bunch of cars coming down pit road. CD looks like Magra Marini, Hertel, Higginbottom chose not to. Kyle Knoll, I think maybe as well. Notably McCauley, Ford, Mercado, Butler, Young on pit road. Dylan Bahm still in his box. This is not all a professional way to put it, but trying to set a record. I still don't think anyone's going to end up beating. What's his name again?
It was Michael Wolford.
Yes, Michael Wolford,
who got over an hour.
Something like that. Yes. I believe we may have missed a couple pit stops under the first caution that we had earlier for the Charlie Sears, Dylan Bahm, Mark Ouellette incident. So laps since last pit so far. Magra Marini, Hertel, Higginbottom still have yet. Kyle Knoll, I'm going to assume Knoll pitted under the first caution period. And then everyone else just recently did. Might get a better idea here with the pit stops on the ticker here. Jason Butler's pitted 3 times. A bunch of other guys only once. The top 4 still have yet to pit, which this could be very interesting when it comes to the guys from like about 5th onward, like Knoll, McCauley, Ford, Mercado. They might take a huge advantage over some of these top dogs when the green flag comes back out on lap 26 might be a proper estimate.
Yeah, typically these caution periods have been about 4 laps. That's been kind of the precedent here. So whenever the caution came out, I guess just do the count back at this point, as the old pace car is going to stay out for at least one more.
So yeah, it looks like the pace car lights turned off. So we'll be going back green here on lap 26 at a 125 for this first annual Milwaukee Mile 125, which it has been raining chaos early on. Dylan Bahm, Charlie Sears, statistically speaking, arguably the top 2 drivers in the series so far, taking each other out there. Mark Ouellette getting involved as well. Ivan Reynolds, about 10-15 laps-ish later or so, crashing on his own, getting loose through turns 3 and 4. Turns 3 and 4 have been calamity corners so far here at the Milwaukee Mile. But again, we still have plenty of racing to go. And this should be interesting right here on this restart. Is again, the top 4 did not pit, and they still haven't pitted at all during this race. Meanwhile, about 5th onward are a bunch of guys that did come down pit road. So this could get very interesting.
Yeah, interesting, messy, whatever you want to call it. You take it.
So the green flag back out here. Cars rolling through turns 1 and 2 already. Corbin McCauley making a big jump there on rookie Kyle Knoll. The veteran moving his way up into the top 5. He will look to make a charge here. Up through the top 4 and right up back to 2nd. It would have been 1st had we not had that caution for Ivan Reynolds, obviously. Magram leading the way here by well over a 2nd now. Mike Marini, Andy Hertel holding on to the other podium positions so far. Ty Higginbottom in 4th, but McCauley is charging fast right behind through turns 1 and 2. As whoa, Mike Marini into the wall.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to keep on racing here, though. Definitely not, what he had in mind there coming out of that particular turn. Not 100% sure whether he just went too deep or got loose on the exit or what happened there, but certainly you're going to see the 12 falling down the field here as a result, dropping down to 8th. Could it be, just kind of smoked it out of the turn. Let's just see. Yeah, coming out. Yeah, kind of drifted it instead. And, if it wasn't for the other guys in the top 3 hanging on, I'd wonder if maybe that was the start of the tires going off the cliff with him not having pitted yet.
Again, Marini, one of those, top 4 guys that still have yet to come down pit road. As there's a lot of jostling back here. Might have been 3 wide right there. Darcy Ford, Jose Mercado, Mike Marini, Kyle Knoll, all coming really close together right there. I believe Nolan Butler side by. Oh my goodness, Noel putting the blocks on Jason Butler down the back straightaway. Rookie versus veteran. Noel's going to slide up the track. Butler being very smart to kind of stay out of the way right there. Hunter Young, I believe, clipped the grass with the left side tires off of turn 4. My gosh.
Yeah, that was a heavy move there from the 15. Good Lord.
I mean, we've known Kyle Knoll to be an aggressive rookie here within the Canadian Motorsports Network. I mean, we saw it all season long in the NASCAR series on iRacing. So kind of carrying on that. I mean, to be fair, though, again, every series needs to have its aggressive crop of drivers, no matter if you're a rookie or a veteran. And it can be costly with rookie mistakes, but at the same time, too, it actually can help you out. And I know notably for Jose Mercado, who, again, I kind of hit him on the bad end a lot of times for the recent NASCAR season, it's actually helped him a lot throughout this season here. Again, his first full-time open wheel season within the network. He did participate in the inaugural Indy 250 back in 2022, but this is his first full-time season. And again, too, being on iRacing as well, he's impressed.
He has, and I think it's a good point that you brought up there, Reegs. Like, that's probably the biggest thing that a guy like Jose Mercado can take from NASCAR to the Dart series. I had to be very careful on that one. But in making the move from NASCAR to Dart, like, the thing that you're thinking about is, just absolutely needing to commit to your line, commit to your spots whenever you're turning into these particular corners. And again, Mercado, he's a guy that's not afraid to take his line if he feels like it's right. And ultimately that style, as you say, is kind of benefiting him here in the, in the Dart series. And, the results have spoken for themselves to this point. But I know from conversations he's had over the course of the week, he is hungry for more. So don't be surprised if he goes for it again.
Absolutely so. Corbin McCauley still making his charge up here. He's now right in behind the number 7 of Andy Hertel, who's looking to get some redemption after what happened last week in the final turn on the final lap of the 3rd annual Indy 250. In the 2nd position right now. CD Manger, there goes McCauley to the inside. Hertel's going to drop back, so the number 17 to the 2nd spot. But then we look at CD Magram now just entering turn 3. He's leading by almost 3 now. Now it's 3 seconds. But now that McCauley's all the way up here again, McCauley pitted during this previous caution period. CD Magram, on the other hand, has still not pitted at all during the race so far. 37 laps in, now on lap 38 of 125. It'll be a matter if the 17 will be able to charge towards the number 1 in time before maybe we'll get our next pit window, whether it is under the green or the yellow flag.
Yeah, Mangram's got to be praying it's under the yellow at this point, I would have to think, because obviously, a neutralized field as opposed to, having to do it under green flag conditions. I mean, green flag, you're losing at least a lap here, if not 2, depending on the length of the stop. And yeah, caution obviously, will neutralize that significantly. So ultimately, I think, yeah, this is where I guess 3 of the 4 drivers who, stayed out and haven't pitted yet. Obviously, Marini had his issue that sent him down the field a little bit earlier. But yeah, out of Mangrum, Hertel, and Higginbotham, you'd have to think they'd be looking for a yellow here. It's hard to even gauge a pit window, maybe within the next 10 to 15 laps.
I was on mute the whole time right there. Because of those 2 early cautions, it's really going to make it has certainly changed up a lot of strategies for a lot of these guys because they were heading into this race, and there's no doubt that a lot of them had these all planned in mind for when they would come down under the green flag. But no, we've had a lot of calamity going on here early in this first annual Milwaukee Mile 125, so things will get interesting throughout the race. So it's just a matter of now if we are able to kind of have a break and be able to stay green the whole, or for a while after now, then from now till the checkered flag, then it'll just be interesting to see how things go as the number 17 just got by Dylan Bahm, who again, as I mentioned earlier, still staying in his pit box, trying to take advantage of some points if other guys do happen to go through misfortune later in this race. I mean, Dylan Bahm's not, for a rookie again, seeing a rookie not be a quitter, you got to give him that.
I mean, a guy who's won 3 times and was on course for a 4th, I feel like quit probably isn't in his DNA at all. So not entirely surprised to see him out, especially, with the idea that he can get, another point over Charlie Sears in this particular case. But it might just be kind of damage control with CD Mangrum in position right now, and obviously always the threats of McCauley, Hertel, and Higginbotham, and to an extent Jose Mercado as well, being able to jump up the board. And obviously we can't forget last week's winner in that equation either.
So the number 9, the number 64 going at it right there. That is Jose Mercado and Darcy Ford. Mercado holding on to the 5th position here so far. Oh, whoa, someone getting in the wall back there. I believe that's the 77 to Hunter Young through turns 3 and 4, tapping the wall. There's the 17.
Was he just getting out of Mangrum's way, though, as lap traffic, maybe?
I would say maybe not the great. He did get out of the way, but right up the track and still into the wall, so not ideal. But, hey, he still got out of the way. And okay, yeah, that was a better way of getting out of the way for lead lap cars right there. So the 77 was able to improve as the 17 got passes. Oh, we were talking about Mangrum McCauley right there. I was wondering if the 17 would be able to charge, as at first it didn't really seem like it, but now only just over a second and a half separating the 1 and the 17.
Yeah, I wonder if, as we were talking about before, it feels like kind of a matter of time before those tires were going to, eventually kind of give way here for CD Mangrum, as Corbin McCauley's, kind of rubbering in and getting a little bit more life out of his now after that first pit stop. And yeah, you see that deficit just absolutely melting away here. Do not be surprised if we see a battle within, given that it's only a mile, we'll say 3 laps.
We'll have to wait and see, as I think the 17 may have had a couple slides right there through turns 1 and 2 if my eyes were looking there correctly. Another battle here on the timings. Oh, whoa. Kyle Knoll in trouble?
Yeah, well, if he is in trouble, certainly not a caution out of it. Yeah, let's just see if we can kind of gauge of what happened. Yeah, nothing out of the door.
Oh, yeah, there. Yep. Oh.
Yeah, that would do it.
So trouble for the number 15 Toyota for Storm Surge eSports, that's Kyle Knoll, who again, we saw him being aggressive against Jason Butler earlier. And now it seems like maybe karma kind of bit him in the butt right there, as now he's in his pit box after crashing off a turn 2. No caution. So that's still going to help. That's going to help the 17 still be able to charge against the number 1 of CD Magrum. 2 familiar faces from the NASCAR series, at least for the past 2 seasons. Of course. I mean, again, on all ovals, so...
I was going to say, that lead is, effectively gone at this point. Under a second. Yeah, Macaulay's got him right in the crosshairs at this point, and you want to talk about a guy hungry for a victory? Yeah, Magrum would certainly love to get it as well, but, Macaulay, he's had, admittedly, a pretty rough go here in the start of this darts series season, and Magrum obviously second in the standings, so a win obviously coupled with Bahm just kind of salvaging points, that'll tighten up the championship gap considerably. But Corbin Macaulay is a guy who probably expected to be more in the fight than he is right now. He's a guy who absolutely needs those 50 points.
Absolutely, and I've been talking with the number 17. He's literally right on the other side of my wall here in my quote-unquote broadcast booth here. But Macaulay has mentioned to me many times that how he has been struggling to kind of transition over to this open wheel side. He has mentioned that on the stock car side, he knows what he's doing, but on the open wheel side, there has been those struggles and there has been some of those frustrations, but he knows that he's fast, and he knows that he is overdue for a victory at some point. And about that, he will be charging here up against the number 1 finally here in just a little bit. It's been a while since the 17 has won an open wheel race within the network. I don't have that statistic or, that historical fact right at the top of my head, but I know it's been a long time since he's been able to get the job done. I mean, quite frankly, I don't think he's even won in the Dart Series yet.
No, he definitely hasn't.
So
I can tell you that for free.
It's weird for a guy like him that's been here again since the very beginning for the Canadian Motorsports Network. We're saying this guy hasn't won a race yet, and we're just thinking like, but in the NASCAR series in Formula One, like he's been everywhere. He's been winning races all over the place there. He's got championships even as well over in Formula One. But man, here in the Dart series, it just kind of feels like he's like everyone else. He's like with a bunch of other guys,
It's almost like, I think probably the best way to put it is, Season 4 Corbin Macaulay in NASCAR is one thing, obviously. Did we get a little touch on the wall there, perhaps?
Might have been very close on the rear wheels there for the 17, as he's now finally going to clear the number 1 is CD Magrum. Well, no, Magrum's actually going to try and get the run on the inside here. They're going to still be almost side by side through turns 1 and 2. Almost contact as Magrum kind of slid in. But that may have been... That right there.
They raced hard but fair.
I mean, yeah, give him credit for that. But again, too, if we look back at the lap since last pit, again, Magrum, Hertel, and Higginbottom haven't pitted at all in this race. Meanwhile, Macaulay pitted on during that last caution period. So that slide right there may have even worsened the tires completely on the number 1. And that's going to help the number 17 take the lead. Already almost a second over Magrum. As I said, long overdue for a win. This guy's going to be hungry for one, as this is a perfect opportunity for him right here on an oval. He had it there back at Indianapolis, but of course a speeding mistake and then eventually a crash on the back straightaway cost him. So he is no doubt going to be hungry for a win. As, we're now halfway.
We are, and that came up very, very quickly. And, the point that I was going to make, obviously, no matter where you are in the race, like if you're leading and there's a caution that comes out, you kind of have to cover yourself in relation to the rest of the field. Now, whether or not, there's an opportunity for Mangrum and the other quartet that have yet to pit to kind of make that up, that remains to be seen. But at the same time, I think right now, again, if we sustain this kind of clean run, those 4 guys, they're kind of going to get bit here. And, that's where you could potentially see guys like Jose Mercado and Darcy Ford moving up the board in the long run, potentially looking for another later caution to try and balance out tire stints. But right now, the play to come into the pit seemed like the right one to go with.
And I was saying earlier about the number 3 of Dylan Bahm hoping to take advantage of other drivers' misfortunes later in the race, not giving up. Quit is not in his dictionary. The number 3 has moved up a spot, 12th to 11th. Kyle Knowles still in his pit box, 18 laps down. Dylan Bahm's now at 16. And here comes C.D. Mangrum finally down pit road into his pit box. So I guess kind of a green flag pit window now underway, quote unquote.
Well, what was that time?
6.75.
Okay, so not like a massive pit stop. Interesting that Darcy Ford's in a second time. Because I believe he very much did pit under that first window.
He did pit earlier under one of the caution periods. Yes, 7.08 for him, so definitely slower than Mangrum right there. But interesting to see the 64 here on the nice lap.
It'll be very interesting to see. Like, I would have figured, the couple of caution laps, maybe get some additional life out of the tires, but, maybe not as much as we thought. And, I mean, you see, Mangrum's 6th, but, again, a lap down, possibly lucky to not be 2.
So Macaulay now leading the way by almost 9 seconds over Andy Hertel. Lap 71 of 125 in this first annual Milwaukee Mile 125 for Season 2 of the Canadian Motorsports Network Darts Series, first season on iRacing. We might as well shout out our sponsors and partners that help us be able to do this every single Tuesday night or Monday night if we count last week, of course. We'd like to thank the Holland Hurricanes, Kyle's Fried Chicken, Rampage Coffee Co., GTR, TrackCams22.com, who provide us with these amazing broadcast level or professional style, maybe I'll put it that way, broadcast cameras. It's what you see here every single Tuesday night, or again last Monday night, blah, blah, blah. But every Tuesday night here within the Canadian Motorsports Network now on iRacing. This transition to iRacing has given us the opportunity to use these cameras and to really enhance and emphasize our broadcasts, so we thank them very much for that. And finally, Piping Kettle Soup Co. and GSGSG Vinyl 3D. And again, we will also shout out the Holland Hurricanes once again. Again, they'll be going for a National Women's Soccer Championship and also a Regional Women's Rugby Championship as well. Both games will be going on this weekend at home in Summerside and in Charlottetown. So, of course, the best of luck to them. And also as well to the basketball and volleyball teams as well at home and on the road. And women's hockey will be coming up soon. I'll be broadcasting for them once again within 2 weekends, I guess, or so. So can't wait for that. Right back to this action, right back on topic. The number 17 of Corbin McCauley making his way to pit road.
Yeah, let's see what he's got. Looks like a relatively clean stop out of him.
A 6.83.
Man, 7/100ths away from being perfect. I had to get something in like that.
Oh, yeah, I don't blame you. I was waiting.
I mean, I've been off my game here tonight. I got to get back into this.
Yeah, there's still time. We still got plenty of racing left as with the 17 going down pit road right there. Now it's going to be a lead battle between Andy Hertel and Ty Higginbottom, separated by 3/10 right there. McCauley just got past the number 12 of Mike Marini for the 4th position. Jose Mercado in 3rd, but just under a second and a half behind the top 2 leaders. Again, separated by 3/10 down the back straightaway. Lap 77 of 125. 6 cars now remain on the lead lap. Darcy Ford 1 lap down, Butler 2, Young 3, Reynolds 5. Dylan Bahm still in this one at 16 laps down, but trying to again take advantage of any potential misfortune that may continue on throughout this 125-lap races. Yes, here comes the number 7 of Andy Hertel down the pit lane for his green flag pit stop.
Is this his first stop of the night?
Yep. So a 6.75. That's his time.
All right, I'd say he's probably looking at, well, obviously more than halfway through on those tires. He's looking to go to the end at this point.
So yeah, Ty Higginbottom still has yet to make a pit stop in this race. Same with Mike Marini, Jose Mercado, and C.D. Mangrum at 1. McCauley at 2. Yeah, here comes the 97, as I was just saying right there. So Jose Mercado will take the lead and gain an extra point for leading 1 or more laps.
Yeah, and he obviously benefited from coming in during that second caution, I believe it was, where everybody else pitted, as Higgy goes into the 7s with his pit stop, maybe a little bit longer than everybody else, but he's also going to have the benefit of fresher tires for this run to the end.
And Marini's going to get a... Oh, boy.
Did he get a little greedy and maybe a little speedy?
We'll see right here if maybe that was the case. Looks can be deceiving, but it might have been just barely.
Yeah, because, I mean, outside of that one... Oh, man, that was a little dicey there between McCauley and Reynolds.
Give a little PTSD to the 17 after what happened between him and Darcy Cudmore back at Canadian Tire.
Okay, we're getting word. Yeah, Jason Butler black flagged here for speeding as he comes in.
Oh, I think Jose Mercado as well.
Yeah, I feel like that might be what befell Mike Marini as well. Like, you'd have to look at the times. It feels almost academic at that point, doesn't it?
So, yeah, a couple of guys on the bad end of luck here with a couple speeding penalties by the looks of it. I mean, clearly there's no damage on any cars, so it's certainly got to be that. So Mercado 46.77. Butler still remaining in his pit box serving his penalty. Meanwhile, 4 cars remain on the lead lap, but Corbin McCauley still leading the way, while C.D. Mangrum now just coming down the front straightaway at 3 seconds behind. Looking at the race summary here so far, 2 cautions, 7 laps under caution, 6 lead changes, 6 different leaders. Corbin McCauley with the fastest lap of a 23.628 on lap 53 at 152 miles per hour. If you look at the weather, 44 degrees Celsius track temperature, so it is indeed slick in these partly cloudy conditions. Almost 50% humidity, wind speed in the mixture of about 15 to 20 kilometers per hour, going in a north to west direction there. Again, I'm not a perfect weather expert by any means, but there you go.
Yeah, it'll be, Corbin McCauley having a few seconds to work with. It's good right now. Mangrum obviously came in a few laps later than the 17, of course, only made the 1 stop compared to 2 for our race leader. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these tires hold up at the very end. And, if that track temperature continues to go up or kind of hold steady, as you say, kind of slick, these guys could be sliding a little bit like, the beloved Milwaukee icon known as Bernie Brewer after a home run here by the end of this thing.
Andy Hertel getting past Ty Higginbottom for the third position. Again, trying to find redemption after what happened last week in the third annual Indy 250, trying to get back on the podium once again. And if I take a look back at previous results, so Andy Hertel so far has gotten just 2 podiums through 5 races so far. Macaulay's got 1. Magram's got 1, I think 2. Higginbottom has 2. So there's not a lot of guys that really have had, like, other than maybe Dylan Bahm. Like, some of these top guys so far have only really gone about maybe 2 or 3 podiums at best so far through 5 races. But Macaulay, Magram, and Hertel all looking at adding to their numbers here tonight. Again, still plenty of racing left here to go. Macaulay leading the way by 3 seconds over CD Magram. Macaulay so far has led 25 laps. Magram at 54. Hertel at 2. Higginbottom's got 2. Jose Mercado's got 2 in there as well. So again, at this point, it's just a matter of keeping the tires fresh and getting past lap traffic safely and just hoping that there is not a caution, at least for Macaulay. Meanwhile, for everyone else, they'll be wanting that yellow flag to be waving.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason to think we won't see something before the end, because this field, especially on these types of tracks, they have a way of kind of coming together at the end. It might be a little bit of a stretch now, given the gap between, Magram and Hertel in that second and third. But, I think, I don't think the interest level's necessarily gone from this one just yet. I think, I'd say keep watching until the end, figure out, what exactly is going to come of this. But, things looking not too bad for the 17 if, everybody kind of holds station.
And only 4 cars remain in the lead lap. Ford at 1 lap down, Mercado 2, Marini 3, Young and Butler at 4, Reynolds at 7. Dylan Bahm still remaining in this one at 17 laps down. He'll be looking to hope if something does happen at any point later in this Milwaukee Mile 125, he might be able to put himself into a top 10 position, still be able to gain some valuable points. Again, too, with only 14 drivers here tonight, this is still going to be very good points for Bahm to still be able to have a decent points lead. But again, though, too, if we look back on the Indy 250, every single race this season has a ton of points up for grabs for everybody, and especially, too, with a lot of guys not racing here tonight. There's, again, especially for guys like McCall, especially for someone like Macaulay in particular, when looking at the standings, right now, Macaulay's sitting 10th in points with 100 points. Meanwhile, Dylan Bahm's in first at 197. So tonight is certainly going to be huge if the race stays green and he's able to keep himself where he is right now. C.D. Magram currently in the second position, with Dylan Bahm having his early incident. There's no doubt that he'll be crawling his way up to being closer to the number 3. Andy Hertel in 4th. Again, between 2nd and 6th, if I do the math, that is a cushion of about 7 points between 5 drivers. So, a lot of interesting things going on right there for the runner-up position, and no doubt it's going to make things even more interesting with Dylan Bahm's early incident and him only maybe finishing in 11th or maybe 10th if something happens.
And again, the other variable in this, it's a smaller field tonight, but for the 6 who are out, this is potentially the race they wind up dropping at season's end to kind of finalize their point totals. So we'll see how that comes in, and we'll kind of have to factor that into our analysis, as we go along here as well.
So Macaulay leading by 4 seconds over C.D. Magram. Andy Hertel and Ty Higginbottom are really going at it here. Well, actually, the 17 is now coming up to lap. These guys here in particular, Hertel and Higginbottom. Well then, that could make things interesting here. Magram just coming through turns 1 and 2. Macaulay just down the back straightaway. When Macaulay goes to lap Hertel here, He's only going to have, oh my goodness, that's very close racing right there behind McCauley again. As Hertel and Higginbottom again, they're still going at it for the bottom of the podium right here. McCauley's only got one more car to lap to the checkered flag if this race stays green. Remember how earlier in the season it was, I believe it was Long Beach.
Yes.
Charlie Sears was one position away, one car away from potentially setting a record that still has yet to be accomplished here within the Canadian Motorsports Network. It almost was a couple of years back with Ty, or was it Darcy Ford, Ty Higginbottom?
It was Ty.
It was Ty, yeah, back at a Martinsville race. And unfortunately fell short of just one car, which I believe it was Darcy Ford. Charlie Sears came very close against, that would have been, it was Andy Hertel. Now there's Corbin McCauley up against C.D. Magram. Again, they're still separated by quite a margin. But again, it's... I remember saying, because it was twice. There was Ty Higginbottom that first time it failed. There was the second time with Charlie Sears it failed. And then I was thinking, third time's the charm maybe? But I just don't know if it's going to happen here, especially with this gap that these two have.
Yeah, McCauley would need at least a second a lap from here on to even consider that. So I would say, it's a straight up fight if Magram can catch up, which, just empirically based on time, that is infinitely more likely to happen than your scenario. But as we say that, the laps are just melting away from the board still. So, you know what? Could see something happening, but in Corbin McCauley's situation, I wouldn't be surprised if he just continues to stretch it out just that little bit more. I'm not necessarily worried about tire life in his case because he came into pit, I believe it was the mid 70s when he pitted. So 50 laps on this set of tires, he's done a run longer than that already. So not necessarily worried about him losing grip or anything like that.
So yeah, for pretty much here on out, it's more than likely just going to be the biggest battle that we'll be seeing here is for someone to get on the bottom of the podium here to join Corbin McCauley and C.D. Magram. It's Andy Hertel versus Ty Higginbottom again. Higginbottom finished third back in the third annual Indy 250 last Monday night, and he'll be looking to try and get 2 podium finishes in a row. That would be 3 within 4 races. He failed, unfortunately, in the Dart Indy Ontario. But again, 3 within 4, that would not be too shabby for the number 97 United States Air Force Toyota. But then again, there's Andy Hertel, who's trying to come back from what happened last Monday when he wrecked. He and Dylan Bahm had the incident, final lap, final turn. There's one guy that's looking for back-to-back, and then there's another guy looking for a resurgence, a redemption. So things could get pretty heated here as we'll be coming to 15 laps to go very shortly here within the first annual Milwaukee Mile 125. And other than that, the only other thing I can think of in my mind is Jordy, formation lap in Brazil, Formula One. Thoughts?
So I will freely admit that I tuned in on lap 1 to see the ensuing chaos off of that start. So I missed in real time what happened off of that formation lap. But big old Yikers Island for all of that. And really, that whole Brazil weekend was kind of weird if you factor in the weather for Q3 on Friday as well.
Oh, yeah.
When you've got winds strong enough to blow roofs off of shelters, probably not the best place to be.
Well, I mean, how else are you supposed to prevent Max Verstappen from going to victory lane?
The answer is you probably don't.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, Fernando Alonso.
I mean, the old dog still got it.
And the sportsmanship from Sergio Perez, Chico, absolutely golden.
Yeah, he would have loved to grab that podium dearly. But yeah, it just wasn't in the cards for him as We see Hertel and Higginbotham just sneaking past. I think that's Butler, the lapped car. Indeed, It is. And yeah, as you say, not a whole lot really to talk about here as we're coming up fast on 10 laps remaining now. But yeah, very interesting weekend on that front. Obviously, you know, a new NASCAR champion was obviously crowned too. Or am I off on a series? Xfinity, maybe.
Repeat that again, sorry. Repeat that. What were we saying there?
Wait, who's that directed at?
I'm directing that at you.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I just kind of got lost on, you know, the stock car action over the weekend as well.
Oh, yeah.
Then I just heard Butler say something. This is just okay.
Well, I mean,
I have enough voices in my head, damn it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take a Ryan Blaney championship, man. Man, I was. It's funny whenever I'm in college, I'm in a journalism program. I'm supposed to be as neutral and professional as possible, but then when I see Ryan Blaney take the checkered flag, I'm surprised my room didn't explode.
Yeah. So no, what I was saying is I just got. I kind of got mixed up between series there. I wasn't 100% paying attention. We did have, after all, 4 straight game days to contend with out here on my college athletics side of things, so wasn't necessarily paying attention, but I am looking to pay attention to this finish to see if Corbin McCauley's going to hang on here.
Well, McCauley's just coming off turn 4, C.D. Mangrum going into turn 1, so I'd say if maybe you add on another 10 to 20 laps, then maybe he could accomplish the record that still hasn't been pulled off yet. But quite frankly, right now, I think all that matters is that number 17 crosses the finish line first and finally breaks that little unfortunate bad luck streak of his that he's had, where Lady Luck just has given him absolutely none of it on the open wheel side.
Yeah, he's it's been a bit of a rough go for him, but you know, there's a reason that to quote or to take from the iconic movie Wayne's World, Alice Cooper in particular. If you weren't aware of this, Reegs, Milwaukee, it's derived from a Native American pronunciation, Algonquin to be specific. Pronounced, well, Alice Cooper anyway says Milwaukee, which is Algonquin for the good land. And, you know, Wisconsin's been good for Corbin McCauley here tonight. We're back in Wisconsin in a couple of weeks, as a matter of fact, thanks to Road America as well. So, you know, potential double here for the 17. Honorary cheesehead status if he gets that.
Did you not notice the 17 there get loose off turn 2 and turn 4?
I may have been reading the Wayne's World quote, so I didn't 100% see it, but, you know, this might be a case where he's just got to hang on.
Whoa!
Certainly,
caution!
Oh, caution! That's Reynolds.
Oh, my goodness.
All righty then. What were we saying about not having anything to talk about?
It's always something that comes back and bites us in the ass.
Well, 2 laps to go. Is this thing going to finish under caution? Okay. Yeah, race is over.
Well,
there
actually,
we go.
come to think about it, I think this race is just going to end under caution anyways.
Well, yeah, we just got the confirmation from Jason Butler in our Discord ears. This one's done.
So, yeah, the first annual Milwaukee Mile 125. There it is, 1 lap to go. It won't show white flag. It's because we're still under caution. But I guess the best way we can put it is the 17 can say thank goodness that this wasn't a couple laps prior. Because, again, remember the Indy 250 last week? was a caution with like 6 laps to go. We still managed to get a 2-lap shootout to the end, which thank goodness we did because holy moly.
Yeah, that was to say that was an eventful finish would be putting it mildly. This decidedly more anticlimactic, but I somehow don't think Corbin McCauley is going to care.
Yeah.
It's a checkered flag in his hand. He played it out the way that, he was supposed to, and he kept his head, was sensible on pit lane, which, would not be the first time we've gone in the opposite direction with him. But yeah, ultimately did what he needed to do, and there's the checkered flag.
Yeah, still trying to get used to the fact that it's not NASCAR series where there are green-white checkers. This is the top American open wheel series we're talking about. But yes, finally, the number 17 of Corbin McCauley will join the list of drivers this season to earn their first career victory within the Darts Series here in the Canadian Motorsports Network. The number 17 of Corbin McCauley takes the yellow and checkered flag to finally earn his first career American Open Wheel Series victory within the network, and it is in the first annual Milwaukee Mile 125. So again, I was talking earlier about someone trying to etch their name into the history books. It's not like the Indy 250 crown jewel, blah, 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 whatever. But still, this is the first time we've ever raced here at this track within the network. First annual Milwaukee Mile 125, and Corbin McCauley was able to add his name to the list, along with also claiming his first career victory. So, can't get any better than that for the 17.
No, I mean, this is, we said it a couple of times, sorely needed here for Corbin McCauley, because how many times have we said if he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all over the course of the first 5 weeks of the Dart Series. Of course, he did miss a week on account of the Coca-Cola iRacing series as well. So there's also that to throw in. So nice little 50-point bonus here for him. Gets him back into the conversation here a little bit, especially with Dylan Bahm much further down the order. So it'll be a nice chunk out of that deficit, but 7 races to go, still a long way to go from here to the end of the season. But hey, a win might be just what the doctor ordered here for the guy we're on board with.
And again, too, this guy in the point standings, whenever I can get back to it here, 10th. 97 points behind Dylan Bahm. And knowing what happened with Bahm here tonight, if this momentum can continue for the number 17, absolutely huge momentum for someone whose confidence has been a little low so far here in Season 2 of the Darts Series, first one on iRacing. But this right here could change everything as we are now officially halfway through the season.
Yeah, I mean, tonight he stands alone. But as we said, there's a lot of guys he's got to jump if he wants to get into the title fight on a more formal basis. As we say, who knows? This might be the start of something here for that Holland College number 17 Honda. Thank you very much for putting that board up, because I forgot the manufacturer, but you can take the results from here.
Absolutely, I will. So, with all that being said, the number 17 Honda of Corbin McCauley driving for, let me remind myself here, for Hurricanes E-Motorsports, claims the victory in the first annual Milwaukee Mile 125 here for the Canadian Motorsports Network Darts Series on iRacing Season 2. First career victory within this series as well. So, no better way of getting the job done there. C.D. Magram and Andy Hertel are going to round out the podium. McCauley, again, third time we've had a race with the potential of that record of lapping every single car throughout the race. Unfortunately, the third time around, not going to happen. We're going to have to wait until the future for that to maybe happen finally. But C.D. Magram can luckily say that he did finish on the lead lap there in the second position. Andy Hertel with the resurgence, redemption after what happened last week at Indianapolis. Ty Higginbottom in the fourth position, just falling short of back-to-back podium finishes. The Winner of last week's race, of course, Darcy Ford getting the top 5 finish. Not too shabby for him. Jose Mercado continues his top 10 consistency with a 6th place finish in the number 9. You can see the 6 and the 9 there. Absolutely nice. Falling short of a top 5. Yeah, falling short of a top 5. But again, consistency has mattered for him. Mike Marini, 7th. Hunter Young continues his momentum from the runner-up finish last week with an 8th place finish. Jason Butler, 9th. Ivan Reynolds again struggled throughout the day with multiple incidents, but he still came home with a top 10. Dylan Bahm going to finish in 11th. He chose to not have the word quit in his dictionary despite the early incident with Charlie Sears. He still finished in 11th, 19 laps down, so still plenty of points for him, knowing that, again, only 14 drivers participate here tonight. Kyle Noel finished in 12th at 76 laps down, and then Mark Ouellette and Charlie Sears both early DNFs in this one, but still, I guess, quote-unquote, decent points. Again, knowing that, again, only 14 out of 20 drivers showing up tonight to the first annual Milwaukee Mile, 125. And that is officially your unofficial results here for tonight's race. And now we can shift to our faces here one last time here tonight, at least one face, maybe two.
I mean,
maybe.
Hey, Bernie Brewer didn't get enough appreciation when I brought him up, so he had to make an appearance in the broadcast. He's Milwaukee's own.
Certainly is, and then right back to that. But yes, with all that being said, finally, Corbin McCauley beats Lady Luck here tonight. And other than that, again, 10th in points, 97 behind Dylan Bahm. This could certainly be able to finally build up his confidence, again, knowing how many conversations we'd had about how the season's been going for him. He just, hasn't really been feeling it so far. There's been a lot of luck against him, but finally tonight could be the start of something special, especially, too, knowing that, again, coming off Season 4 in the NASCAR Series where he won 8 races and made the Championship 4, was the perennial favorite. And then, as we all know, a mistake in the championship race costs him again, on paper, should have been his championship. But now this season, this time around, halfway through, finally getting the job done, finally back in victory lane for the first time in the Darts Series once again. First ever Milwaukee Mile winner as well, too. Again, this could be the start of something.
I mean, if he wants to get into title contention, it has to be the start of something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's still a long way to go, and we talked about the fact that the races just keep dwindling and dwindling from here. And, it's not going to get a whole lot easier the next couple of weeks. You got Belle Isle and Road America on the docket coming up. So a couple of entirely different challenges on that front. But, he's a guy who's shown that he can be versatile, although our series leader, Dylan Bahm, can very much say the same. But, 7 races to go, still a little bit more than halfway, just because we have an odd number, so we can't officially say half, but there's still, there are opportunities, but tonight's a good start. Just got to kind of keep it going for Corbin McCauley, especially knowing that guys like Dylan Bahm, like Charlie Sears, they're eventually going to bounce back. They're going to prove to be, formidable opponents as, McCauley tries to climb up the board. And also remembering that, there's a lot of guys in contention here as well. A lot of guys still hungry for W's. I mean, very quietly, Jose Mercado turning in a good finish tonight. Very quietly, Darcy Ford hanging around. And, these are guys who are just going to keep hanging on as they have pretty much since day one. And yeah, I think we're in for, still another eventful couple months here between now and, ultimately when we do determine a champion.
Absolutely. So with all that being said, this is going to be it for you, as now I'm going to get to the post-race winner interview with the number 17, or unless you want to be along for this one.
I am happy to stay on the side for this one. As I say, I wasn't on my game tonight. I'm not going to be much better post-race. So
okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
so
let's just continue on.
Yeah, I will go ahead and continue to talk on the man on the other side of my wall here, literally right on the other side of this camera and then a wall. The number 17 Hurricanes E-Motorsports Honda of Corbin McCauley, again claiming his first career victory in the Darts Series and becoming the first ever winner of the Milwaukee Mile 125. So I'm going to go and interview him. It's been a while since I've done that, ever since the NASCAR series, obviously, and that does it for, that's not Jordy Carraher, but it also is Jordy Carraher. So once again, Jordy Carraher, my fellow color commentator here. He's been here since the very beginning. He's on the other side of the country in Alberta, Canada. Been here since the very beginning. Jordy, once again, thank you very much for, as per usual, your weekly educational and historical insights and the humor as well. And we will see you next Tuesday night for Belle Isle.
All right, you got it.
All right, then stay tuned, folks. We still have the other Macaulay to interview. Stay tuned. Alrighty then, folks. We are back out here now for the post-race winner. Why did the camera have to go far and not on the car? It was just perfect right there. Anyways, here is the number 17 Hurricanes E-Motorsports Honda of Corbin Macaulay. First career victory, finally, within the Darts Series on iRacing here within the Canadian Motorsports Network. I mean, it's kind of weird saying that, knowing how much success he's had more on the NASCAR and Formula One side of things, obviously. So, first time winning the first ever winner of the Milwaukee Mile 125, and also claiming your first career victory, and finally breaking that bad luck that you've had over this first half of this season within darts. So finally, you break the bad luck, you beat Lady Luck. How does it feel to be the first ever Milwaukee Mile winner?
Oh man, it feels so good, dude. Like I did not expect to dominate the race like that. I mean, just the fact that I'm in victory lane and on the podium in the Dart Series is kind of nuts to me. Like, I never thought that would ever happen, considering the luck I've had. There were a couple of moments tonight where my luck was tested. Cough, lap cars seems to occur a lot. But anyways, yeah. So being back in victory lane is such a good feeling. It's been a while since I've done one of these interviews with you, and looks like your camera has panned out far again. That's kind of funny. But yeah, so no, it's real good to be back, and that was a great race. A really fun racetrack with this car.
Absolutely. And now, considering this is the first time we are finally talking to you, well, actually, I think it's other than the middle of the race interview that you had with Jordy there one time. Whenever I
don't want to hear about that.
Long Beach, was it?
I think so. Yeah, well, we're just gonna forget about that for now.
Yeah, but just now that we're finally talking to you here, now practically halfway through the season, just kind of tell us how you've come to this point, and just all the bad luck that's happened, and how you're kind of feeling throughout all these races, and now finally you have this one race where finally you get the job done, and now, especially with what happened earlier with Dylan Bahm too, that will make things certainly interesting within the point standings. You're in 10th right now. you're certainly going to jump all the way up to, I don't know, it could be under the top 5, maybe even within the top 5. I'm not a points expert. You are the one doing all the points. So just kind of take us through how this first half of the season has gone and how this race will be able to, hopefully change things up and give you more confidence heading into the second half and hopefully be able to give you a potential chance at the championship still.
Well, I mean, it's going to be a tough ladder to climb if I even want to think about the championship with the luck and the bad driving skills that I've had in the first half of this season. But no, it's taking me a while to get a handle on this race car. Obviously, with the Cup Series side, the NASCAR side, obviously I have tons of experience with the stock cars, and I know what I'm doing over there. I really don't have any clue what I'm doing whenever I'm racing this car, but I'm starting to I'm starting to find the ropes. I'm starting to get the hang of it. It's certainly quite a learning curve. This car has so much power. It understeers in the corner. It oversteers out of the corner. Plus saving your tires is a huge thing as well. And also learning about how the fact that the lesser amount of fuel that you take on a pit stop, the faster the car, and actually the more turn the car will have. That's one of the biggest thing I've learned in this car is that the more fuel is a tighter race car. So strategically putting fuel in the tank is something that you have to think of when it comes to how you want the car to handle. That was a huge factor of this race as well. But to be completely honest with you, I have no idea what my points are. I really haven't been paying close attention. But hopefully tonight will put me in a better spot, and maybe who knows? We'll be all right. What track are we at next week again?
That would be Belle Isle.
Oh, great! So my momentum's gonna go crashing down. Anyways,
you never know.
That track is it's something else, dude. It is so tight quarters. Like it's even tighter quarters than Long Beach. So like it's there's hardly any room. It's gonna be an interesting race, that's for sure. But no, I'm really happy to be back here and starting to learn the ropes of this car and just getting better every single week.
And now I might as well be nice and kind of give you the opportunity here to thank people, shout them out for, being able to come out here every single Tuesday night. And also, you know what? Might as well mention what the hell you're doing in real life. You can finally do that now a couple races in. I'm sure you want to do that maybe earlier in the season.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Wait, haven't I already mentioned this? Or am I?
You can talk more. You can talk. I don't know. Just talk. Just
all right. Well, anyways,
thank people. Just say what you're doing.
Sure. I'm going racing in real life next year. You can see on my winglet right there on the front wing of my car, I've got the Oyster Bed Speedway logo. That is the racetrack that I'm going to be racing at next year. I'm going to be in the mini stock division in the number 17. Thank you, Ricky Miller, for allowing me to use your number. But I'm going to be in that car next season. I'm going to be in it full time, and we're going to be going for a points championship in real life. So should be interesting time. I see you're trying to find the logo. You're trying.
I was trying. This works.
Anyways, but yeah, no, I'm going racing in real life. I've got all the safety gear already, and I just in the process of getting the car ready for the track. So follow my racing page on Facebook. It's Macaulay Racing Team. You can look that up on Facebook and find my page. And yeah, so that's the big news, and I'm really excited to hit the track next May.
And is there anyone else you want to thank or shout out for this? Yeah.
I'll shout you out for being a pretty good commentator. You're pretty good at what you're doing right now, and Jordy as well. We can't go wrong. Jordy's one of the best out there, and yeah, Daniel for the series, and Holland College for being on the car. Hurricanes E-Motorsports. It was a fast car tonight, and it's because of them. So I appreciate their help, and onto Belle Isle, I guess it is. Yeah.
Absolutely. So with all that being said, that does it for this post-race winner interview here for the first annual Milwaukee Mile 125 within the Canadian Motorsports Network Darts Series Season 2, first one on iRacing. It is the number 17 Hurricanes E-Motorsports Honda of Corbin McCauley getting his first career victory within the Darts Series and also becoming the first ever winner of the Milwaukee Mile 125. So, once again, Corbin, congratulations. Celebrate safe and well. I know safe is certainly not a term in your dictionary, but anyways, congrats, and we will see you next Tuesday night for Belle Isle, which, by the sounds of it, you have so much confidence heading into.
We will be full sending in Belle Isle.
I saw that coming. Is that it? Is that it?
Yeah, I guess we're good to go.
All right. See you next Tuesday.
See ya.
And thus, there you have it right there. That was the number 17 of Corbin McCauley getting the victory here tonight. And so, with all that being said, now actually, we're not on this half of the schedule anymore. We're now moving on to the second half of the schedule for the remainder of the season, the remainder of these broadcasts here for Season 2 of the Dart Series on iRacing. It is going to be the Detroit Grand Prix, round 7 of 13, next Tuesday night on November 14th. 35 laps around. Yeah, if you can manually zoom in with your eyes and just see how that track is laid out, oh my goodness, it is going to be. It's like Corbin was saying, it's going to be interesting. That's one way to put it. We're going to be right back to the good old road course format, the best lap within 10 minutes. So we'll have all the coverage of that beginning at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Atlantic, around then as per usual, of course. So the Detroit Grand Prix, the 2023 edition of it, next Tuesday night. So you will not want to miss any more action that we've had here, any more competitive and thrilling action that we've had here within the Canadian Motorsports Network. Dallara IR01 Auto Racing Teams Series on iRacing. So, with all that being said, on behalf of me, the main voice of the Canadian Motorsports Network, Regan McCauley, the other voice as well, the color commentator, Jordy Carraher, he's been here since the very beginning, network and series founder, Daniel Cudmore, the competition committee for the network, and everyone else, drivers, other staff, just anyone involved within the series and the network, we'd like to thank each and every one of you for watching, listening, tuning in to yet another live production of Canadian Motorsports Network Racing here on iRacing. We will see you all for the Detroit Grand Prix next Tuesday night, November 14th. You will not want to miss it. Mark it on your calendars. We will see you then. Once again, thank you all very much for tuning in. Have a good one. Take care. Yeah.